Claw found an unlikely accomplice on the way to its first victory over Oregon in a decade. A defense that had been pummeled over the first half of the season delivered a wicked counterpunch during the Bruins' 31-14 triumph over the Ducks on Saturday afternoon before 55,711 at the Rose Bowl. UCLA did not allow a point in the second half for the first time this season and forced 2 turnovers while committing none, a major coup for a team that ranked among the worst in the nation in turnover margin. "We ended up getting a whole lot of things fixed that we needed to," Bruins safety Adarius Pickett said after his team's first victory over Oregon since 2007, ending a 6-game losing streak in the series. Realizing that Oregon would rely heavily on the run while playing with backup quarterback Braxton Burmeister, UCLA rolled up 11 tackles for loss and sacked Burmeister 4 times after having 0 sacks in its previous 3 games. Burmeister struggled in his third start in place of injured Justin Herbert, completing 8 of 15 passes for 74 yards with an interception and running 16 times for only 27 yards, though 2 went for touchdowns. "We just knew we had to lock him down, and I thought we did pretty well," said UCLA defensive end Jalen Phillips, who delivered a vicious sack in his return from an ankle injury that had sidelined him since September 16. UCLA vs. Oregon. Photos from the UCLA Bruins' 31-14 victory over the Oregon Ducks in a Pac-12 conference football game on October 21, 2017. UCLA, 4-3 overall, 2-2 Pac-12, held Oregon, 4-4, 1-4, to 320 total yards, including 246 rushing yards. It qualified as significant progress for a team that entered the game allowing an average of 523 yards per game, including 313 rushing yards. Oregon tailback Royce Freeman became the leading rusher in school history with 160 yards and 29 carries. That gave him 5,103 yards for his career, surpassing LaMichael James' 5,082. It wasn't enough. Freeman produced only a few of the long runs that have hurt UCLA all season. His 25-yard run was one of only 2 Oregon plays that went for more than 20 yards. "They broke a couple on us," Bruins coach Jim Mora said, "but we were able to contain the huge run that has been hurting us." UCLA's defensive effort wasn't perfect by any means. The Bruins helped Oregon sustain its 2 first-half touchdown drives with what defensive coordinator Tom Bradley called dumb penalties on 3rd down. But UCLA withstood a wave of injuries including the loss of lineman Jacob Tuioti Mariner, internal injuries, and Matt Dickerson, collarbone. The Bruins' linebacking core was so thin that defensive end Kaisi and Lucier South shifted to weak side linebacker and Pickett essentially became a linebacker at times by creeping toward the line of scrimmage. The Bruins had to scrap their plans to redshirt freshman Greg Rogers, which paid off when the defensive lineman beat his counterpart to get the penetration that helped stop the Ducks on 4th down early in the 4th quarter. UCLA quarterback Josh Rosen was efficient 1 week after a 3-interception dud against Arizona, completing 21 of 36 passes for 266 yards and 2 touchdowns. He received more than enough support from the Bruins' defense and running game, which generated 142 yards and 2 touchdowns, including Bolu Olorinfunmi's wacky vault into the end zone off the helmet of a defender at the end of a 22-yard run. "I didn't really have to push or do too much," Rosen said. "That's why you see no turnovers." His 1-yard touchdown pass to receiver Darren Andrews in the corner of the end zone gave UCLA a 31-14 lead early in the 4th quarter and provided the final points during a second half in which the Bruins outscored the Ducks 17-0. The Bruins held Oregon scoreless in 3 of 4 quarters after yielding points in 19 consecutive quarters, beginning with the second quarter of their victory over Hawaii on September 9. A big part of UCLA's defensive turnaround was its takeaways. Bruins get much-needed boost from walk-on receiver Christian Pabico. Safety Jaleel Wadud stripped the ball from Oregon tailback Darian Felix on the Ducks' first drive and Tuioti Mariner recovered at the Ducks' 45-yard line. It was the Bruins' first takeaway since the first quarter of their game against Stanford on September 23. "We needed it," Wadud said. "It's just me running around, flying to the ball. No real secret." The UCLA defense provided another boost late in the third quarter when cornerback Colin Samuel intercepted a pass at the Bruins' 4-yard line. He turned his head at precisely the right moment and wrestled the ball away from receiver Dylan Mitchell, helping to preserve UCLA's 24-14 advantage. Mora wrapped an arm around Samuel's neck afterward, a tender moment generated by a defense in need of some positive reinforcement after some epic struggles. "Today, at some point," Mora said, "all the hard work and the resolve, and the attitude and the commitment and the investment, it starts to pay off."